Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. If you are new here, my name is Nishitha. Please take a moment to hit the subscribe button. I upload videos every Sunday and Thursday at 9 AM PST. Today's video is going to be a tutorial on this naturally glowy makeup look. People are calling it the yoga skin these days. So I actually wear this makeup look very often, so I thought I would film like an in-depth tutorial for you guys. So I'm actually not using any of my studio lights today. I wanted to film this video by my window so you guys can see how this makeup looks in real life, like with the natural lighting and with no help of studio lighting whatsoever. Right about now, I'm going to insert some before and after so you guys can see the magic of this makeup tutorial. So if you guys want to know how I create this naturally glowy makeup look and all the products that I use for it, then please keep watching. So first I want to apologize if you are hearing any aeroplane voices because we live very close to airport and yeah, it's really annoying, but I do want to make this a talk through tutorial so I can explain each and everything as I'm doing it. For primer, I'm going to use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil because I want to add that glow, like as if I'm glowing from within. So for this whole makeup look, skin prep is very important. So I'm just going to take few drops of this and then just press it into my skin, concentrating mainly on the high points. For makeup looks like this, I always recommend you do double priming because with the oil, we are going to get that beautiful glow to the skin. It looks like as if my skin is really plumped and hydrated and it looks like I'm glowing from within. But the only drawback is it might exaggerate the pores you have as you are putting a shiny, I don't want to say shiny, but something glowy on top of your pores. So it can exaggerate the pores that you have. So I always recommend you use some silicone-based primer to fill in those areas. Just in the T-zone. You don't want to do this all over because you don't want to take the glow away. So I'm going to take my NYX Angel Well Blur Primer. This is actually a silicone-based one. So I'm going to take a little bit and just press that into my T-zone wherever I see some pores on my skin. Like you can go like really up close to the mirror and see where you have those pores and just press that into your skin, like slightly. And you can also do a little bit in your fine lines. Like I do have my smile line, so I'm gonna add that here and on my chin. So just in the T-zone where we usually, tend to have pores. And one more advantage is that it also mattifies the T-zone because I don't want to look like glowy in my T-zone. I just want to add the glow like all over here. But in my T-zone, I do want my skin to look a little bit matte. The next step is foundation. For this yoga skin, you want to use a foundation that is more of a medium coverage. You can take a full coverage if that's what you like to go for, but I would say sheer it out. Make it look as natural as possible. But for today, I'm going to take my all-time favorite Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation. This has a medium buildable coverage, so I'm going to go for this. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to literally take some on the back of my hand and I'm going to use my fingers and start from the centers of my cheeks. And to make this foundation a little bit more glowy, on top, wherever I applied the foundation, I'm going to add some of my Hollywood Flawless filter. Just going to go in with the wand and add it. So this creates like a nice concoction of the foundation and this Hollywood glow. Obviously, it's a yoga skin. I had to take out my Hollywood Flawless filter. You guys know how much I love this stuff. And again, using your fingers, I'm going to blend all of this out onto my skin. So what this does, like the Hollywood filter does, is that it has a nice slip to it. So it's going to help the foundation like spread out beautifully on your skin. So you can already see that, it is covering like some of the redness that I have, like few of the acne pimples that I have too. But if it's too stubborn, it's not going to cover all of it because first thing, I'm using a medium coverage foundation. Then I'm also shearing it out a little bit. So... But don't worry, we can add a little bit more foundation wherever we want to add some extra coverage. And for this look, the best way to apply your foundation is just by using your fingers because that way the foundation melts like way better with your skin because of the warmth that you have, and it also looks and makes your foundation as undetectable as possible. Now that I have the first layer on, I'm gonna again go back in with the foundation and add it just in the areas where I need a little bit more coverage. For me, it's mainly my cheek area where I want to add some extra coverage. And this time, as you can see, I'm pressing the product in because I want to add coverage on top of the blemish itself. I don't want to move it around too much like with the first layer I did, because I want to keep the coverage on top of the acne spot. So at this point, I want to stop. Even though all of my acne spots are not covering, I don't want to add, any more foundation at this point, because it can, layering too much can give you that cakey look, and it will also take away from the natural vibe we are going for. So once I have the foundation, I like to go in with my beauty blender and just press everything together so there are no, finger marks when I was blending it out, and it just pushes the product into your skin even more. Next step is to add some concealer and brighten underneath the eyes. For that, I'm going to be using my Too Faced Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the shade Sand. And on top of that, I'm going to use my Maybelline Age Rewind Concealer. This one is in the shade Medium, and this is mainly to brighten things underneath my eyes a little bit. When doing natural makeup looks, you don't want to use a lot of concealer, because concealer is what gives it away. If you apply too much, it's what gives it away that you're wearing too much makeup on. It's not the foundation, if you can observe closely, it's the concealer. If you apply too much, it will give away that you're wearing a lot of makeup. So that's why when doing natural look, I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but especially when you're going for these natural kinds of looks, I would always recommend you use very little bit of concealer. If you have extreme dark circles and you have to use a lot of concealer to cover all of it, for tutorials like this, I would say even before you apply your foundation, go in with an orange color corrector. So that way you will conceal the darkness, and then you would have applied the foundation on top of it, and then use a very little bit of concealer so everything looks very natural. So I'm going to add just a little bit. And again, don't apply the concealer with the wand directly underneath the eyes. Start a little bit low, because as you blend it, it will travel upwards. It will go underneath your eyes. So when you're applying concealer for natural looks like this, try not to go very close to the under eyes. And then on top, I'm going to add the Maybelline concealer. So when you blend it out, try going to that inner corners where almost all of us have that darkness. And then just take some onto your eyelids as well. So now I'm going to go in with the concealer, do spot concealing on the acne spots wherever I couldn't cover earlier with the foundation. So when doing natural looks, always go in with very light first layers. So that's what I did. I first applied a very light layer of foundation. I added a little bit more in the cheek area where I felt like my skin needed it. But then I stopped, because now I'm going to use the concealer and cover just the spots where need some extra coverage. Just to cover that spot, if I slap on some more foundation on, the entire face is going to look cakey. So that's why just use some concealer and do the spot concealing. And then I'm going to pick up very little bit of concealer. You don't want to add too much. And just apply it wherever you see that stubborn acne spot peeking through. So at this stage, even without the rest of the makeup, you can see that my complexion, my base makeup looks very glowy, as if I'm glowing from within, but it looks very natural as possible. So that's why we follow all these steps just to get that natural looking, skin, as if, you just went to a workout and came back. So that's the look that we are going for here. So now I'm going to fill in my brows, just to fill in the sparse areas. I'm not going to do anything intense. So now the complexion is done. I'm going to add a little bit bronzer just around the perimeters of my face. I'm taking my Lancome Dwell Finish powder. So just apply it wherever you usually do your contour. You don't want it to be too intense again. You just want it to be really blended in with your skin. Take that onto your jawline. So moving on to blush. For looks like this, I usually prefer to go for pink color blushes, because that's how naturally we would look like, right? If you pinch your cheeks really hard, pink flush is gonna come out. So that's why I would say when going for natural looks, try and use pink color blushes. So I'm going to take my Balm Cosmetics Frat Boy blush, And the brush that you use for this is also really important. Try to use a brush that is not very dense. So make sure that the bristles are loosely packed, because we want to add like that slight flush of blush all over our cheeks, but we don't want it to be really intense as we are going for that naturally glowing kind of look. So just take a very little bit of this, dust off the excess. You don't want to add too much, and then go from the apples of your cheeks to your hairline, like that. And I also love to add blush onto my nose. So now to add some more glow to my face, it doesn't already have enough, but I want to add a little bit more because we are going for that nice glowy skin. So I'm going to take the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops. This is in the shade Rose Gold. It's actually a cream highlighter, but it blends very well even on top of powder, so that's why it's okay to use it, even though I know I applied powdered blushes on top. I'm just going to take my fingers and apply this just on the high points of my face. This is the highest point of my face. Like when I look at the light, you can see that the light is reflecting from here because that's the highest point of my face and that's where the light hits first. So literally turn towards the light, see where you're seeing that glow, and then add highlighter on top, like on top of that area. And then just take your beauty blender and blend it in. You can also add some on here as well, and then underneath your brow bone. Moving on to eyes. First, I'm going to take the Cover FX highlighter. Just add a little bit on the back of my hand. So for this, I'm just going to take like a crease brush, like something you would blend out your matte transition shadows. But I'm going to use this instead of a flat shader brush. Slightly take the highlighter and just apply this on the centers of my lids. So we want that glow even on our eyelids as well. And take that into your inner corners. So as you can see, I'm not, packing a lot of this. I just want that slight wash of glow all over my lids. So that's why it's important to use a crease brush instead of a flat shader brush. Now I'm going to add some definition into my crease, but instead of using an eyeshadow palette, you could just use the bronzer and apply a little bit of that onto your crease. But for today, I want to use the Modern Renaissance palette because I haven't used this in a really long time. I'm going to take the shade Raw Sienna, just very slightly add that into my socket just to add some definition. Starting from the outer corners, and then take that into the crease. And I'm just going to take the same shade on the same brush and diffuse it out on my lower lash line. So I want to add a little bit more definition to my upper lash line. So I'm going to take the matte brown shadow from the palette and on an angled brush, this is the Morphe R45. So I'm just going to take this and slightly line my upper lash line. And last, for the eyes, I'm going to curl them and add tons of mascara. So just because we want to keep things glowy does not mean that you don't get to powder your skin. Of course, you should add some powder, especially underneath your eyes so that the concealer doesn't crease, and also in the T-zone because you don't want the foundation to slip off, because when we sweat, that's where the foundation tends to break apart first. So I would say get a finely melt powder. For example, my favorite powder for whenever I'm doing this natural looks is the Charlotte Tilbury one, hands down. So if you have a powder that you really love in your collection, which is gonna just melt into your skin and not look cakey or heavy, I would say go with that powder. But for today, I'm taking my Charlotte Tilbury powder. And again, you don't want to add a lot. Tap off the excess. You just want that slight wash of powder. Again, very slightly. I'm not taking it all the way down. Just where I have lines. So the powder, the concealer doesn't crease. Then doing the same thing to the other eye. Just removing any creases, like tapping them in. And then going with the powder. And I also like to add, a little bit in my T-zone. just to mattify the T-zone area. You can see that my skin is looking very glowy, but it's not looking oily because especially we have powdered down the T-zone area. Obviously, you want to set all of this makeup down so it increases the longevity. For that, I'm using my Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray. This is really good, especially if you want to improve the longevity of your foundation or your, whole makeup. So I'm just going to, spritz it all over my face, but mainly concentrating again on the cheek area. Moving on to lips, I'm going to first line them using the Sephora Rogue Gel Lip Liner in the shade Rose Wine. So I'm going to line it so it covers all the darkness that I have around the perimeters of my lips. And then on top, I'm going to add the Almay Lip Vibes in the shade Be Fearless. If you haven't already tried these lipsticks, what are you doing? Go to a drugstore, grab one today. It's amazing. The formula is very comparable to and even better than some of the high-end lipsticks that I've tried. Absolutely love these line from Almay. I want to add a little bit more peach or a little bit more warmth to my lips. For that, I'm going to take the same Almay Lip Vibes, but this is in the shade Smile. So I just want to add a little bit just on the centers. So, the pink and the orange will make this nice concoction. So that's what I want, like a more of a peachy pink lip color. I love colors like these for summer. They look like I just had a popsicle. That completes this tutorial. I feel like as I age, I'm only 25, but as I get older, I feel like I want to stick to more glowy products to add the glow back into my skin, to make it look very youthful, to make my skin look very youthful. So this is a makeup look that I wear very often, especially when I'm going out with friends or going out to the mall, because it's very lightweight and it's perfect for summer because you've applied very thin layers of products, so that's why your makeup is not going to melt away throughout the day. Even if it does, you're not going to notice much because you haven't applied too much. I hope I'm making sense, and if I could wear one makeup look for the rest of my life, this is what it would be. Probably I would switch up the lip color, but the products that I used on my face are like my go-to, especially when I want to add that beautiful youthful glow to my skin. So I really hope you guys liked me filming this tutorial by my window, and I also hope you learned some tips and tricks along the way. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!